Hey guys, Shane here. I've always been upfront with my mental health issues in the past, and I'm a proud mental health advocate. This is why I know as much as anyone how important it is to get a mental health checkup. If you're in the market for a therapist, try BetterHelp. BetterHelp will assess your needs and match you with your own licensed professional therapist, and you can start communicating with them in under 24 hours. It's more affordable than traditional offline counseling. Financial aid is there if you need it. Visit trybetterhelp.com/rinse. That's trybetterhelp, HELP.com/rinse to get your mental health checkup today. The following episode of Rinse contains language or subject matter that might not be suitable for children. Listener discretion is advised. Welcome to Rinse, Shower for the Soul minisodes with me, Shane Fame Alexander. Cleansing your soul with quick and impactful discussions on health, wealth, and life. Hello, my name's Shane Alexander, and welcome to a special edition of Rinse.
Martin Luther King was murdered in Memphis on Thursday evening, April 4th, 1968. And by early afternoon Friday, the residents of the west side of Chicago had taken to the streets. The looting began almost immediately, and the outnumbered police could do little but watch. A carnival-like atmosphere prevailed all afternoon and into the night. The looters claimed it was simply an expression of their righteous indignation over King's assassination. Even before the fires began, Chicago officials had requested help from the Illinois National Guard. But it would be hours before the first troops arrived.
As sisters and brothers, I have a dream today. I have a dream that one day every valley shall be exalted, and every hill and mountain shall be made low. The rough places will be made plain, and the crooked places will be made straight, and the glory of the Lord shall be revealed, and all flesh shall see it together. This is our hope. This is the faith that I go back to the South with.
I was 10 years old when I first read the words of Martin Luther King. I had been reading about Nelson Mandela. It was he who got me into learning about the civil rights movement, which got me into the teachings of Dr. King and soon after Malcolm X. I spent hours reading about blatant racism that occurred back then. I read Martin and Malcolm's speeches and rented any video I could from the library to watch them vocalize their words of hope, love, and unity. While I read about the courageous work to make the world a better place, I was thankful that they fought the fight so I wouldn't need to be brought up in a world rapidly filled with racism. Then, in 2020, 57 years after Martin told us about his dream, this happened.
God! Ah!
Look how they doing people out here hungry. Got him peed on the ground. He crying and shit. That is sick.
Please. Please. Please, I can't breathe. Please, man. Please, somebody help me.
We see the Minneapolis liquors, that is on fire on the other side of the street. We see a fire behind the precinct. We also see protesters throwing fireworks at the precinct, and the fire alarm is going on inside of the precinct. This is a scene that has completely changed from earlier today when things were peaceful dawn, people cheering and more fireworks going off as literally the police precinct is burning.
Josh Campbell, I want to ask you, because you are our law enforcement expert here, how will police and the fire department respond in this? How do they respond in a situation like this?
Yeah, Don, I'm going to take this mask off a second so you can hear me. The police here have made a calculated decision
There's a quote from that late Chicago journalist Sidney J. Harris. He said, "History repeats itself, but in such a cunning disguise that we never detect the resemblance until the damage is done." This year has been crazy enough. The world is on lockdown. COVID-19 is bringing uncertainty and chaos. People are tired and angry and frustrated, but while the rest of the world is dealing with what could possibly be a new norm, Minneapolis police set the world back half a century. Well, all we can do is to continue to preach love, unity, and understanding to the next generation. We must be able to flip that anger and hate and grief we have against the world right now into something beautiful and creative and inspirational. If we continue with the hate and torment, then we'll become the problem we're fighting against. We now need to pick up where Martin, Malcolm, and Mandela left off, today in 2020, and teach our children, nephews, nieces, students, the rights and wrongs, the difference between love and hate. They will be the next in power, and they'll be the next to vote for those who are in power tomorrow. We are in an uncertain, scary, racist time, but that doesn't mean that tomorrow will have to be like this too. Keep fighting the fight, and with all our fists together, we'll make the change Martin hoped for.
Let me say, as I've always said, and I will always continue to say, that riots are socially destructive and self-defeating. I'm still convinced that non-violence is the most potent weapon available to oppress people in their struggle for freedom and justice. I feel that violence will only create more social problems than they will solve, that in a real sense it is impractical for the Negro to even think of mounting a violent revolution in the United States. So I will continue to condemn riots and continue to say to my brothers and sisters that this is not the way, continue to affirm that there is another way. But at the same time, it is as necessary for me to be as vigorous in condemning the conditions which cause persons to feel that they must engage in riotous activities as it is for me to condemn riots. I think America must see that riots do not develop out of thin air. Certain conditions continue to exist in our society, which must be condemned as vigorously as we condemn riots. In the final analysis, a riot is the language of the unheard. What is it that America has failed to hear? It has failed to hear that the plight of the Negro poor has worsened over the last few years. It has failed to hear that the promises of freedom and justice have not been met. And it has failed to hear that large segments of white society are more concerned about tranquility and the status quo than about justice, equality, and humanity. And so in a real sense, our nation's summers of riots are caused by our nation's winters of delay. And as long as America postpones justice, we stand in the position of having these recurrences of violence and riots over and over again. Social justice and progress are the absolute guarantors of riot prevention.
Thank you for joining me for another episode of Rinse. Don't forget to share and leave a review. If you have a suggestion for the show or just want to get in touch, reach out to me personally at hostshane@gmail.com or follow me on social. On Instagram, you can find me at ShaneFameCom or FameFriends. Or on Twitter, it's at FameFriendsPod. Rinse is a Fame and Friends production.